On this episode of Star Trek Universe, we're talking a little bit of news and Star Trek Strange New Worlds 205 Charades, right after these words from our mystery sponsors.
Welcome to Star Trek Universe, the podcast where you can listen in on two lifelong friends sit and chat about Star Trek like they always do. My name is Matthew Carroll.
I am David C. Robertson.
Mr. C. Robertson.
Mr. Robertson.
What's going on? You doing all right?
Man, I'm okay. My back sucks, but, I'm still trying to get over that hump. How are you, man?
Oh, man, good. Is this the first? No, we did last week's in person in the new house.
We did.
And this is that was literally my first day in the new house. What was when we did that? So this is like, been here about a week. The house is insane. Paige, my girlfriend, who is moving in with me, has way more stuff than I realized.
I could have told you that, man. She seems the type. Female. I'm kidding. I actually have way more shit than my wife does, so.
In a previous life, she had a 5-bedroom house and still has like basically all the furnishings and decorations for a 5-bedroom house. And this is a 3-bedroom house. And I was planning on kind of mostly letting her use her furniture anyway, because she has nicer furniture than me. Yeah, you use yours. I'll leave mine at my old house for my roommates, and they'll be fine with that. And then I started looking at how much we were I kept bringing stuff in, and I'm still today. I was like bringing a load from her storage unit, and I was like, all right, I don't know where all this is gonna go. Like, we're gonna have to do something. I don't know how much. One of the big things was get rid of the storage units. I'm like, I don't know if we can. This is crazy.
Yeah,
crazy stuff.
As the people are bringing in the furniture, you're just like taking it and throwing it into an incinerator.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I don't know what happened to it. It's a big house, honey.
Oh man. So yeah, it's been a bit of work, but I'm liking it. I'm very, very happy here. It's much further from the interstate and everything, and just quiet. So I love just being here in the house and feeling a little more peaceful. I don't think I knew how much the city hustle and bustle of just cars driving by and stuff was affecting my mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Calm your nerves.
Yeah, just going outside and sitting on the back porch and just hearing frogs and crickets and stuff. It feels like I'm going back to the land.
Yeah, man. Rest your weary bone.
My weary bone. That's the plan. Well, let's talk about this here. News. You said there were news. I didn't even ask you what it was.
Yeah.
No pre-talk. Tell me the news.
You didn't.
What's the haps?
First of all, I want to let everyone know, if you didn't know already, we lost Manny Coto, who was a producer he joined Star Trek Enterprise for its 3rd season as a writer and co-executive producer, and then elevated to executive producer for the 4th and final season. Those are my 2 favorite seasons of Enterprise. I thought they were really great. The show was really starting to kick up steam, and then it was canceled. But yeah, he died of pancreatic cancer. He was 62. That sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of sucking, though not nearly as much as that, we're not going to get any new Star Trek for a really long time.
Because of the writer strikes and actor strikes.
Right? Yeah, the WGA and SAG are striking for the first time at the same time, and everything's going to be pushed back.
Yeah, everything. All the gears halt. Was Strange New Worlds finished? Is the season finished? Are we going to get that entire season?
Yes, but they were about to shoot season 3 this summer, I believe. And then Section 31 was scheduled for the fall to be shot.
Yeah.
And we don't know how exactly it's going to affect the animated projects like Lower Decks.
Mm-hmm.
or if they'll need to do additional ADR for Prodigy Season 2, even though we don't know where we're getting it. And speaking of that, the second part of Season 1 is now up for pre-order of Star Trek Prodigy. So, and really one of the best ways to indicate that you support the show and to get those numbers up is to buy the damn thing and on physical. And so second part of Season 1 is available at Target at least. It was on Amazon and then it was removed. So
Season 14 available now.
No, damn it. Serious. I want more Star Trek Prodigy.
Me too. So yeah, second part of Season 1. Buy them both. Buy the whole Season 1. I bet there's probably like a set or something. Maybe.
Not yet. But
Right.
yeah, that's it.
Buy it on physical, buy it on iTunes. But physical, I mean, that's the way to do it because, like, you know, you get that nice, like, thing to put on your shelf.
Yeah. But I'm glad me and Effie started doing our reviews of the original series because there might not be much to talk about coming soon.
Yeah. And I may have to join in on some of those with you guys if that's all right. Like, honestly, I've been in a bit of an overwhelmed state lately with taking on the house, taking on the new child. I don't know if I've mentioned that on this cast, but my niece, a 12-year-old niece, came to live with me as of 6 days ago or whatever. So she's living with me, first time cohabitating with a partner. It's just like a whole lot of change in my life, and I've been overwhelmed lately. So going to, every other week like we tend to do in Star Trek's Down is probably not terrible for my lifestyle right now. I'm actually stepping away from a couple of the other podcasts I do. Not going to step away from this one, but I may go to... If we're in a downtime, I'll probably hop on every other week or so with you and Effie or something. That'd be fun. That'd be real fun. It would be fun.
So that's it. That's all I've got.
Well, that's a real bummer about Manny Coto. I don't follow the behind the scenes stuff as much, but I remember seeing that name on a lot of episodes. I just know that name. I know that name well, and it's just it's sad to hear. And yeah, seasons 4 and 5 of
3
Enterprise.
and 4.
3 and 4. See,
there was no 5. Damn it! Damn them.
Season 3 and 4 of Enterprise. The last two are the best seasons. They're great.
Yeah, they're like DS9 level great.
Yeah, they are. Very appreciative of his contributions to the universe, and sad to hear that he is passed.
Yeah,
and it sounds like it's going to be a dark time for Star Trek.
Damn it, studios, pay your damn people.
Yeah, get it going, guys. Yeah, it's crazy. But we watched an episode of Strange New Worlds, though. What do you think of that?
It was okay.
What was the episode called?
Charades.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite scene. I think my favorite. I agree. This episode's okay. It's fun. I have a really hard time just letting the show be fun, and that's a problem. That's my problem, not the show's. When it's just fun, I'm just constantly questioning it. You know, like it's really hard for me to let a joke land when I'm constantly questioning. Like, no, you don't understand. He's used to suppressing his emotions. It's not that humans couldn't do the Kolinar. You know, like it's like I don't know. It feels whatever. I don't know.
Well, there's that, and that comes to mind for me. But then again, I'm like, no. But there's a lot of like Vulcan bullshit. Like Vulcans have always been steeped in mysticism. Like we don't know exactly what they're doing, but they've got some kind of damn rituals, some kind of like. It's like part of like the whatever their ability is to do the mind meld is also like putting up mental blocks in their mind.
Yeah, sure. That's true. Like literally, they talk about it this episode with the odor blocks or whatever that like help him suppress certain olfactory reminders of emotions and stuff. So
no, that's because that's because humans stink. That was a direct.
No, but he goes on the next line to say, and also these blocks help me from being triggered by certain things that would cause me to stumble emotionally. Like he talks about how that would help.
Oh,
so I'm assuming
I don't remember that.
Like, so those are little like physical blocks that they're putting up. But like, I know the mental, like building mental walls around their emotions and stuff is a thing. So Yeah, you're probably right. Like, it's probably the lack of their telepathy and stuff probably disrupted. It just felt kind of it was a silly episode, and it's just hard for me to just sit there and think, like, enjoy the silliness, and I hate that about myself. I really do. Like, I just want to be able to enjoy it, and I did. I think that Ethan Peck, like, really shined in this episode. Like, really,
he did
really
a good job.
He really did.
Yeah.
Like, the balance of, you know, him being just weird with emotions and, like, sort of that teenager style of emotions and everything.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you've talked about your rooting for Chaplin. How'd you feel about them finally getting to, you know,
Plow?
Plow. There you go.
I'm Mr. Plow. That's my name. That name again is Mr. Plow. I was for it, man.
Yeah, me too.
T'Pring was like, yeah, we need to take a break. I was like, do it! Get it done!
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I saw that coming. I'm wondering, you know, we've talked about the fact that is this a different universe? It is. I mean, after a few episodes ago, we know that it's a changed universe.
Yeah.
And could it be that this version of Spock ends up with Chapel? You know, I don't know. I don't know if they're going that far with the differences. Or if that, you know, the things are still supposed to happen. Like, is Amok Time one of those things? Like, is T'Pring staying his betrothed one of those things that has to happen? Or, like, that time keeps pushing back on? Do we have to get... Does it have to happen? I feel like it kind of does. Just, you know, it feels like it should. But, I don't know.
I think so. Also, that internship or whatever it was...
Mm-hmm.
When they mentioned at the beginning that she had to recite these Corby principles or whatever,
mm-hmm.
that was a direct reference to her future fiance, Dr. Roger Corby.
Okay.
Who we met in the original series episode, What Are Little Girls Made Of? So I think that was like definite foreshadow of going like, we haven't forgotten this. It's still coming.
Mm-hmm.
Something is going to gum up the works between these two.
Yeah.
And that something might be Dr. Roger Corby.
I really loved this episode. Hit me in the feels twice. And it, like, kind of came out of nowhere because it's such a silly episode. And, like, I'm just such a, I don't know, these silly episodes, sort of like lighthearted ones. I wish I could just sit back and enjoy them. But the whole time I'm like, no, what's the deal with these interdimensional beings? You know, like, tell me more about them. Like, I want to know about the sci-fi element that's happening. Like, what's this, whatever. Like, I kept bouncing back to that. And, like, this, you know, and they did go back there and they talked to them and they fixed it and all the stuff. It's just kind of like, my brain can't just enjoy Spock being silly. And I hate that about, like, the way I watch the show.
Yeah, that's... I go back and forth because I'm like sitting there going like, I don't know about this, the splitting of Spock's human and blah, 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 and
mm-hmm.
like, I get it. They didn't understand. They thought he was supposed to be human. But I'm like, my brain is like fighting the silliness. But then when it goes to commercial, I'm like, I met a blob in space. It did not have a face. It was called Yellow.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So I'm just as stupid and silly as the episode is, if not more. But I'm sitting there going, don't make my serious Star Trek silly. Mm-hmm. I'm going to write a silly song in the commercial break about this. Oh my God.
Yeah, I hear that.
So, yeah, it gets in the way sometimes. We take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah, take our Trek a little too seriously at times. And all that being said, though, there are a few moments that really hit me in the feels, particularly when she realized that he had changed the shields for her. Like, that was such a great moment. Such a great moment.
Good. So good.
And her, like, I love the awkwardness of her friends. Like, just tell them you like him. Like, it's just such a silly moment, but also, like, really meaningful, weirdly, like, and nice. I don't know. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and it was so hard for her to say it. That was what was so funny, is like, she was like, oh, I mean, I don't know, sometimes I wish, like, maybe there was more. Oh my God, just say I like him.
Just tell them you like him. You're trying to save his, like, who he is. Just tell them. And I liked her speech a lot about how, like, you made him into someone that's easier to talk to and someone that probably understands how I feel, but you left behind who he is, and I have a connection with who he is. This is really touching. Really freaking touching. And the other moment that really got me was Spock, after completing the ceremony, telling off her to Pring's mom. I just, so good, and because he felt insulted for his mom and the way that he like really, like, especially after the memory that she shared with him. Yeah, it was just really nice. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I think he shared it with her, maybe? Was that
No, she was supposed to share a moment from his childhood or whatever.
But either way, that got me. That part got me.
Yeah.
When she was absolutely. Like, why, when they were talking about why it was that memory.
Mm-hmm. And this thing is, like, those two moments are so tied together because he saw through her eyes for the first time how poorly she'd been treated, and he'd been so self-centered as a child.
Oh, yeah.
That he finally saw it from her perspective and saw the pain she was going through, and then to have them disrespect humans in such a way, and then him be able to be like, yeah, well, look, you don't think a human could do this? Well, they just did. And you should, get off your high horse and stop being so haughty about your volcanism. A Vulcan I really liked was to Pring's father.
He was very un-Vulcan.
He was like,
no, that's terrible.
He was so not Vulcan at all. Like, he was just a silly father character, but I loved everything that went on between him and Pring's mom, and how she kept being like, but it's not very traditional. It's like, oh, right, I didn't notice, but yes, not traditional enough. Like, it was to the point of ridiculousness, but it was very funny.
Very old trope, but they did it well.
They did it well. And then, of course, the last thing was with him being like, is there any of that Tulek left?
Yeah.
This is good, like, silly dad tropes. I liked it.
Yeah, I also enjoyed all of Pike's reactions to Pring's mom. Just like, oh my God, just rolling his eyes and like doing those double takes, like, Jesus.
I almost said when we were starting this is like my favorite thing about this episode, and he's barely in it. He's not in it that much, but Pike is my favorite thing about this episode. He is so funny. All of his facial expressions when he starts to bring the Tulek around, and then like I'm not saying the name right, it's something else. He starts to bring the non-traditional food around, and then Spock starts telling her off, and he just sort of like does that sort of pass by thing you do when you don't want to get involved in a conversation. It's so good. It's so good.
That was really good. So we've talked about how great Ethan Peck was. I gotta mention how great Mia Kirshner is as Amanda Grayson. Like, she really just sells Amanda Grayson for me. I feel like she is the same person who played her in the original series and in the subsequent movies. Like, she feels like Spock's mom.
Absolutely.
And no hate towards Winona Ryder, but in a way, Winona Ryder never did for me. So I loved her on Discovery. I love her here. Hooray, Mia. Now,
that's great.
I think the star of the show, though, is Jess Bush.
That Chapel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that
oh my
mentioning someone else, Chapel was killer this episode. Really, really great acting on her part, and just like complex things she's dealing with, and like from a character perspective, I just liked how she really wants Spock to love her, but also doesn't want to make that decision for him, and doesn't want to ruin his life or whatever. So she's like trying her best to, save his marriage. You know what I mean? Like, that's a complex thing. It's really good. It was really, really good.
And for us, we started out talking about how silly the episode is, and it is, but I think there was a really good balance at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Between the silliness and, like, the complex emotional beats that really hit with, like, her crying and begging them to, like, turn him back. And, even, like, with that shitty Vulcan who didn't think she was good enough to be in their program. She's like, I went to interdimensional space today. No one has talked to these people in like 300 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to know more about that. You will when I write my paper next year.
What kind of procedure? And it was really good.
Just like, she's so good at like holding down her emotions just enough that you know what she's feeling. You could see the cogs, in her eyes. She's so good. And this is one of her best episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was. And it really, like, this was an episode we've seen those two really be dancing around each other all these seasons, or, this season and a half. And, like, this was the episode where it really, like, explored it in full. And I thought it was great. I liked them as a couple, and I've been rooting for them. And this was a great episode for them. It's great.
And, I don't want to undercut, just, because the emotional beats were also like, obviously from Amanda, she did such a good job with those emotional beats. And even Pike, we talked about it in a funny way, like, he's rolling his eyes and stuff, but also, like, there is a very real sense of anger, of outrage, of disgust about how these people are treating Spock, who's his very close friend. And I really appreciated that, because, like, while he was really funny, you could also tell, like, dude, he's pissed.
Oh, yeah.
He's holding his tongue. I just think they did a really good job on this episode. I liked even Peck when he mentioned his urges to La'an, and he goes, and now I am embarrassed. And then she just kind of pats him and like walks away like,
yeah, I liked the choice to make him like weirdly like a teenager, like dealing with his emotions for the first time, It was fun. It's a lot of fun.
And one of the things that bothered me about that is because like he's talked about on the original series, like how he's like got two halves and he's constantly dealing with his emotions and fighting his emotions. So, you would think that he would be a little more used to that. Like he wouldn't quite be a teenager. So that kind of bugged me. But overall, I think it was a pretty good episode. Like it didn't accomplish much overall. Like, well, in the overarching story, maybe with Spock and Chapel, yes.
The relationship piece.
Yeah,
this episode's all about their relationship. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's not like, they didn't fight a war or anything, but like,
right.
They definitely, what is the overarching plot of this show, which is the relationships between the characters. That was a pretty huge step, and I think it'll have big ramifications for the rest of the series.
I agree with you there. It does that really well. But at the same time, I'm just kind of itching because I'm like, man, I know the Gorn are coming. I know this. The Klingons and the Gorn and on the...
Yeah, for me, it's just like, I know Boimler and Mariner are coming. Well,
that's the other thing. Because I'm like, I know that's going to be a funny episode. So, like, why are we doing all these funny episodes? Like, let's get
I think that's kind of what this show... I know they called out the Gorn in the beginning of the season, and, like, it's going to be... a plot point like for probably the mid-season finale or the finale of the season or whatever.
Right.
But I think this show is just about the episodic thing, and it's trying to do what Star Trek's always done, which is like have really good dramatic episodes like we had with the time travel in this season, and then have a lot of silly fun that are fun and memorable and just like easy to digest in a single, without watching anything else. That was one thing about this episode I felt more than others. I've been sharing these episodes with other people more than normal because I'm living with other people. So like, I kind of put it on the TV, someone else is here. And, my niece and my girlfriend, like they both are just like, like they've been able to catch on with all the other episodes. And this one was kind of so steeped in like, what is a Vulcan? what is this? They had a lot more questions, and both ended up walking off, which I thought was kind of interesting because the other ones they've sat through and watched, and this one they were like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, all these ceremonies, and who's a Vulcan, and what's this, and I don't know what's going on. They just don't know, anything about this world. And so this one was a little more steeped in the lore and a little less episodic, I guess, than other episodes.
Fair enough. I have such a hard time gauging what general audience would think of Star Trek because I was raised on. I don't remember a time when I wasn't watching Star Trek and didn't know this shit.
Yeah, totally. It's been really interesting, and it's been interesting doing it with all the stuff lately with Marvel, even Mission Impossible this week. I watched with my niece. It's just like it's funny because my girlfriend has is close to my age with no geeky stuff in her past, and so she just doesn't know any of the stuff, and so it's like I get the adult general audiences, and then I get like my niece who's 12, and she has like geeky things she likes some animes and stuff, but none of the stuff I like. So like she watches these things from a very fresh, like different generation perspective, and so it's been very interesting this last year of of watching things with those people.
Yeah. I keep thinking like Paige is like, no, I don't know what that is. I've spent my life becoming a successful human being.
Yeah, exactly.
I know how to adult.
That's exactly right.
And I'm like, yes, but I know about Vulcans and the mating rituals.
Good stuff. Well, my friend, it is late, and I have a trailer to unload still tonight, and I have to get up at 6 in the morning. Geez.
Do you have time for a feedback? Because we got one thing.
Oh, yeah,
two feedbacks.
Yeah, do it, man.
All right, we got Chris Balga, who just posted a picture, said I could use it as feedback, and I wouldn't mention it. I forgot about it until just now. It was just a picture of Spock hiding his human ears from his human mother, as opposed to all the episodes of Star Trek: The Original Series where he was wearing the same kind of hat, hiding his Vulcan ears from the humans. So... yeah, that's fun.
That's cute. I like that.
And we got a piece of feedback from Tim Castillo, titled, "Are you out of your Vulcan mind?" He says, Matt and Dave, Spock freaking out over the mess left on the table by a 30-year-old toddler surrounded by adults was one of my actual favorite parts in this episode.
Yes.
I forgot about that, but that was fun.
I meant to mention it earlier.
It was good to see Sam again, too.
Yeah, for sure.
I was watching this episode, and from the moment Spock woke up, I knew that Dave was going to just love this episode. I mean, it was all right. I enjoyed it. Anyway, Dave, I'm going to guess your favorite scenes starting from the bottom. 5, Pike suggesting that they play charades, and then nothing comes from that at all. I was pleased that nothing came of it. It led to nothing other than killing time for Spock. If it led to Spock also tugging on his ear, revealing he was fully human, they should have done that, then I would have been able to buy it, but it was literally only in there because of the title of the episode. The last episode had a deep cut for the title, and it wasn't even alluded to by any character. This was pretty ham-fisted, maybe even bacon-fisted. No, I think because Spock being human and pretending to be Vulcan for these people, that's the charade.
Yeah. The whole thing, like can you put on a charade? Can you put on a falsehood for this? Can you learn to lie? His mom's teaching him to put on this charade, but it's a double meaning because of the episode title. You probably could have just not had it in there, and it would have still been an appropriate title. Yeah.
Number 4, Spock can only swear when fully human. That was funny.
Yeah, it was
and
funny.
Weird. They're colorful metaphors. They're not swears. Number 3, Spock diving headfirst into a pile of bacon. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but that would have been funny, right? Is it real bacon, or was it like synthetic bacon?
Based on what he said about the spices, I was thinking it was real, but I don't know, because he does cook a lot. I can't imagine he's getting fresh ingredients from all the time. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard on the original series that Spock is vegan.
That's true. So I would assume it's a synthetic bacon based on that.
Yeah, and plus it's a utopia. Why are they still killing animals?
Yeah. I may be wrong, but I think a lot of the characters we've talked about are vegetarians in the future.
Yeah. Actually, in the future, they don't kill any animal but turkey. So that was turkey bacon. Why turkey? Because they're dicks.
Yeah, they are. It's true.
They are. I was just watching Marvelous Miss Maisel, and this guy was like, go and enjoy the swans. They're bastards, but they're beautiful.
I love that show. What do you think about her for Lois, man?
Oh, I'm in love with her.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be the best Lois Lane that ever happened.
Yeah. I'm
She's
excited
fantastic.
about it. I'm excited about it. The one thing I think is weird is that she's, like, I've seen her on Maisel so much.
Uh-huh.
She's almost too on the nose for Lois. Like, it feels like a 1940s Lois or something. You know what I mean? Like that old time, like, reporter Lois.
And part of me actually wishes they would just do, like, the old 1940s, like, Fleischer Superman, but in live action.
Right.
With her as Lois. But I love that shit anyway. I want the big boxy robots and everything.
Right. But I can't imagine they're doing that. I think they're going to do modernized.
Do
but it's weird. It's weird.
She's also an actor, so she can do other things.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, man. But Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern in live action.
Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, specifically.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Dunn said that the whole reason he cast him was because he wanted to give him that bowl cut. So.
That's hilarious.
Anyway. Back to the feedback. Tim says, Spock takes a shot and then says to Guinan and Geordi, I hate this, it is revolting. And then Guinan asks, oh wait, no, wrong one. He drank. Mm-hmm. I didn't make the correlation between Data drinking and generations.
Yeah.
But, you know, I see it. I can see it. Number 1, drum roll please. The ladies teaching Spock how to act Vulcan. They basically boiled it down to, almost verbatim, how Dave has commented in the past, how all Vulcan actors after Nimoy are basically a pale reflection of his performance as Spock. Well, they are, Tim. They are. The one scene I really didn't like was the ritual of saying all the worst faults of the fiancés. I didn't like it because it felt like the writers thought that a Vulcan wouldn't say those things otherwise, and so this gave them leave to do so, but that's never been the case for Vulcans. It felt lazy or rushed. Much of this episode did, I guess. You know what? I liked that. It was like a very civilized airing of grievances, but it was still like traumatic emotional abuse.
Yeah,
like,
no, I thought that was all very fun. And I thought that the entire relationship between T'Pring and her mother was just like this enhanced version of, what I've seen from,
the mother-daughter trope. Yeah.
Not just tropes, but in real life, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it felt very, it felt very much like that sort of relationship. And, there's a reason her mother wanted to do this so bad, and her mother was pushing for it. She wanted to get in front of Spock and say all these things to him, in ways like, and even then, T'Pring did finally defend and say, "No, the ceremony's over. Like, you did not need to, criticize anything else. You need to just say the ceremony is completed. That is your role now." I liked that.
I did like that they had a timer. They had the little, sand timer, you can't go beyond this point. No, we know. Because, we've seen it on previous Star Trek series. Vulcans will, use logic as a way to be bitchy.
Oh, for sure.
They're awful.
Mm-hmm.
They're the worst.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, he continues. Overall, I did like this episode. What can I say? I like Star Trek, fellas. I'm a fan. I do think this one is a throwaway/filler episode. There's some really good bits we talked about. But some funny tidbits were thrown in. This is now canon as to how Spock learned to lie. Boy, they are really using this season to patch up those lingering plot holes, aren't they? The conversation between T'Pring and Spock was good. It felt like a reasonable relationship conversation between people that do care for each other, and I did appreciate that. But we can see that T'Pring is totally going to dump Spock, not because he's part human, she's Vulcan, she can't lie, but simply because she can't stand hijinks. She didn't bring that up during their heart-to-heart at the end, but I didn't need to mind meld with her to know she was thinking it. This is 2 strikes, Spock, and more than that would just be illogical. Hijinks me once, am I right? I really liked Chapel's story in this. I really liked her shoving her experience in the face of the stuck-up Vulcan at the end. Great scene. Jess Bush is killing it in this series, honestly. Of all the characters to pull from TOS to stick into this series and really make them a star, I would not have guessed Nurse Chapel, but I love what they are doing with her character. More? Please. Thank you, Tim. I agree with you on Jess. But yeah, no, I liked that that was her takeaway, because like it was a logical takeaway when she was like, "You of all the people, you told everyone on this ship but me."
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was thinking that from the beginning. Like he even says when he's bringing her on the ship, and we're gonna get her up to date or something like that. Like I thought he was gonna tell her, and then when he didn't, I was like, "Oh, you are in trouble, man. You should not like." She should not be the only person that doesn't know the problem. Like, she could be helping you through the ceremony, she needs to be on your side.
Tell her. Ah, Spock, I knew you weren't going to tell her.
Yeah. But it's that's part of the problem, is that he can't tell. And there's a moment in the ceremony, too, when his mother shares the memory, and they ask, what memory did you share? And he says, it was just an ordinary day. Which is not true, we find out later. Mm-hmm. And I just think there's something they're doing there with, like, Spock can't be himself with her. And Spock isn't taking the ceremony seriously, really. Like, he's kind of keeping it to himself. He's keeping his feelings and his emotions to himself because he's not really investing in this relationship or these ceremonies.
He's been hurt. They've traumatized him.
What do you mean?
T'Pring and her mother are kind of awful. And her mother especially. Specifically.
Yeah, I mean, her mother, yes. I don't know about T'Pring being awful. I don't think T'Pring's a good fit. Maybe, but like I don't think she's awful.
I might be carrying over some prejudice from the original series.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you wound up being a jerk.
Yeah. Well, and even then, like, who knows the wrongs we are yet to see him do to her that might lead to that, you know?
Yeah, well, he lied to her. That's a pretty good one. But, they're not a good fit.
Yeah, for sure.
It's compelling, though. It's a compelling character study.
Absolutely. And I like T'Pring. I really do. I like Chapel more, but I do like T'Pring.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Davo, it's good chatting with you.
Likewise.
We will be back next week, guys. Thank you for joining us. Jolan True.
Live long and prosper.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.